welcome to the His and Her Show with Jody
and Alex Misiak.
And today we are super excited to be joined with another special guest. The first time I met our guest, I was at my very first Momapreneur event. We were sitting at the same table, and when she introduced herself and told us what she did, I was so inspired by the passion she has for what she does. And I have to add, I actually love what she does. So what does she do? I'm going to let her tell you. So without further ado, our guest today is Kim Jones. Welcome, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Hi. Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. Thanks for being here.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, the short term is we're flippers, but we flip homes with a heart. So we do it a little bit differently. We try to make sure that whoever reaches out to us, that we create a win-win situation. And if it's not a win-win, then we continue to work with that person to try to create or connect them with somebody who will be able to give them the solution that they need.
Okay, so can you build on that a little bit as well? Like I get that you're selling homes, but like who are you interacting with? Who are the people that you're trying to create this win-win situation with?
So we don't actually sell the homes ourselves. We hire a real estate agent when it comes time to sell a house. But so we market directly to people who may need our services. And those could be anybody from they need to sell their home quickly because there's a job relocation or a house is passed into an estate. So that now they need to liquidate the house to carry on closing the estate. Or somebody who just they're in maybe a little bit of financial hot water and they need to sell their house and downsize, or maybe there's a health issue or something like that. So we basically market out there that our services is we can buy your home privately, quickly, and it can all be done very quickly. Like we just closed on a property about a week ago, so the middle of July. We had met with the seller the first week of June. We met with them, we took a walk through the house, figured out what they needed from us, and then 2 days later we were able to go back and have a signed contract for them so that they could sell their house and kind of carry on with the rest of their life. So we can do this from start to finish in as little as 3 weeks, but we can take it as long as we need to do it. If somebody needs an answer now but needs to close on their home in 6 months, we can do that. It's definitely something that we work on what their needs are in terms of privacy, and then also what their needs are in terms of timeline.
One of the reasons I love what you do so much is that you pretty much take that weight off the people that are going through hard times. And like they're already stressed, full of anxiety. And then like, cause you've mentioned, like, I know when I met you, it was about, even if a parent passed away and you could help them go through that process, like especially if they're like the families are hoarders and things, and you have to deal with all that. So you're already dealing with the loss of a parent or even another family member, or like you said, like you've reached financial hard times, and like all that stuff is already overwhelming. And you come in with like, I almost like see you as like an angel. You just come in and help and guide them. It's not like you're out there to get their money. Like you said, it's a win-win. It's amazing that you can just kind of help guide them through that process when it's a hard time for like the time is, challenging for those people.
I love that you used the word angel. I don't think of ourselves as angels because I run the business with my husband. But like, I don't think of us as angels. I think of us as like real people, like the people that we're helping. It could be a friend. It could be one of our friends, or somebody's friend, somebody's mother, somebody's father, somebody's, aunt, uncle, whatever, right? So we absolutely try to treat them with as much dignity as we would expect to be treated with if we were in their situation. So like I said, the privacy, like we don't discuss, the nitty-gritty of their life and stuff like that, but like outside of that relationship, but we do, talk about when people ask us what kind of people that we help. Yeah, like we have helped a hoarder situation. We have helped like a health situation or financial situation. But how we do it, like if you can actually see the weight being lifted off of somebody's shoulders, that's what, like the first time I experienced it was like our first opportunity to help a family. And like I'm sitting there with So it was two brothers that were negotiating on behalf of their sister. And like literally once everything was said and done, once we had the purchase price done, once we had like the timeline all figured out, and then they said to us, what do we do with all the stuff in the house? Because like we're not in a position to be able to deal with this. And like I looked at my husband and he looked at me and we looked at them and said, just leave it all. And they said, what?
Mm-hmm.
And we're like, just absolutely leave it all. And they're like, what are you talking about? And like they didn't have it in them because they were dealing with everything else. They didn't have it in them to be able to go in there and declutter and paint and clean and get rid of all the stuff and go through a traditional sale with a real estate agent. So when we were able to meet them and in 2.5 hours, we had walked through the house, we had figured out our numbers, we had negotiated with them, and then like we had to sign contract. All of that weight was lifted off their shoulder. They didn't have this burden of trying to figure out what to do with the house and how to do it. So when we said to them, just leave everything, and like I said, it was a hoarded home, so it was 840 square feet of hoard that we had to deal with. So on closing day, when we walked in there, we got the keys, it literally looked like somebody was still living there. And
wow.
They took what they needed, and that was what the deal was, is they took what they needed, they left the rest for us, and then we disposed of the rest. So how we go about that, too, is if there's stuff that is reusable, we try to liquidate that, try to sell it on their behalf. And like I've done that with another family, is there was, I don't know, maybe $500 worth of stuff at the end of everything. I was able to sell it, and then I went back to them and I gave them that money. So even though I went through the effort of, you know, posting things on my Go and Kijiji and meeting with people and Facebook Marketplace and like all of this stuff, this was still stuff that, you know, there was value in. So I was able to take that money back to them. And a few $100 or $500 or whatever it was, just before Christmas one year meant like the world to them, because they were able to maybe pay a few more bills, or they were able to buy Christmas presents or something like that. So when we offered to do, every situation is a bit different. So like in the case of the hoard, we dealt with the hoard. In the case of somebody leaving like a handful of furniture items behind, we dealt with that stuff and we gave them back the money. If people just want like a clean cut and dry, thank you very much, and they carry on with their life, we do that. But the one thing that we always offer them is to come back at the end. Once we finish renovating the property, we invite for them to come back before anybody else, before an agent comes in and takes photos, before it gets listed on the MLS or anything like that. We invite for them to come back and see what we've done. And for a lot of people, it's really emotional in a positive way, right? Because like all of these great ideas that they had that they wanted to do in their home, and life got in the way and they couldn't do it, they were able to see us take that and run with it and make it beautiful again and carry on and have a nice home for somebody else to move into.
Yeah, I was good. There's a lot of big points that you brought up, but like the first one the last one that I bring up first is that gives them an opportunity to say goodbye to the house
in a positive way,
in a positive
too,
way,
because
exactly.
now they're not seeing it like full of, you know, old furniture or items and stuff, or even just like it's like a facelift for the house, so they get to see it, and like you said, the way they probably envisioned themselves fixing it up at one point, but just never did. So it's really amazing.
And a lot of people that we deal with, there's a lot of shame associated with their home. Like, and it's a huge deal when, you know, we show up and they open their door and they let us come in the house, right? Like sometimes people go, oh, I'll just wait outside. You do your thing and, you know, like meet me back outside, because they don't want to be judged. And with us, there's absolutely no judgment. Like everybody's like, oh, I'll put the dogs away, I'll clean up and I'll declutter. And I'm like, I'm not coming to look at what's in your house. I'm coming to look at your house, you know, like just to be able to make that offer that makes sense. I don't care if the walls are hot pink. We're going to change that, right? Our goal is to definitely help whoever reaches out to us in whatever way we can. And if we're a solution in terms of buying their home, fixing it up and reselling it, then that's great. If we're not the solution, and I'm working with a family right now, we weren't the solution with them, but I continue to work with them beyond, because I wanted to make sure that they didn't lose their home, that they didn't lose their credit, that they, you know, still had their dignity at the end of it. And I was able to connect them with somebody else who could buy the house from them. And the family asked me, she's like, so Kim, what do you, like, how do you get paid on this? said, I don't get paid on this. She says, no, but you've worked so hard for all of this. And I said, my payment is knowing that you and your family didn't lose your credit, that you can walk away from this with your dignity, and then just obviously keep me in mind in the future if you know of somebody who could connect with us and we can help them. So, and that's how we market, to kind of take off here a bit, but that's how we market to people is we networking when people know what we do and they talk about how we do it. And how we're real people and how we do it with dignity and how there's this big sense of privacy and that, like, that's just their experience with us, even though we didn't buy their home, will translate to somebody else who really needs to use this later on, right? So.
Yes, and that's amazing. I love that word of mouth, even like, you helped a family without even getting payment. And a lot of people nowadays can't wrap their heads around that. They always think like everybody's in it for themselves somewhere.
Yeah.
So it's really just amazing that, you are leading with your heart and that's amazing. And that will flow into all areas. So it's really amazing.
Yeah.
So I actually wanted to touch in because you did mention, people don't want to open their doors because they feel ashamed of, it could be whatever area, like either their house is, super full of things or, maybe they're just, not being able to afford the payments anymore. But like they're at that, they clearly probably want to still live in their home, but something's preventing them, or like they have a family member that has passed on, but like they're in that moment. And so how do people reach out to you and how do you kind of work with them when people ask for help? Because that's a big thing. Like when somebody's, feeling shame or they're in guilt or in any of those low state emotions, it's really hard. Like in general, it's hard to ask for help, but they're now at that moment in their life and they're asking you for help. So how does that look on your end?
So the way we find people who need us is most of it has been through networking or word of mouth or somebody who's worked with us before. Other people that we have on our team, like a lawyer or something like that. Like, our first opportunity, they had a client that was in financial problems and they had learned about us and they connected us. And again, there was, no financial gain to that lawyer because we have them on our team because they have the same goals as we do, right? Like help before you get paid pretty much. But we network obviously. And then we also do, because everybody's on social media and stuff like that, we also do some social media campaigns. We do neighborhood mailers, so stuff that comes through the mail, like for anybody who's listening who's in Canada, so stuff that comes through Canada Post. But then we also do like door knockers and stuff like that. So if we see a house that may fit or a neighborhood that may fit our buying criteria, then we will, put something on the door. And unfortunately, we've had some people reach out to us and say that we're predatory or that, like we're trying to steal houses and stuff like that. And that's not our goal. We're straight up with people if we can't get to the price that they need for their home. And then we try to connect them with somebody else, right? So those are the ways that we market to people. And then obviously, the word's out there, but when people are ready to reach out to us, like I said, the call is private. Like I don't discuss any details with anybody else. We don't show up in uniforms. We don't show up in deco cars. Like I show up, I tell you what my name is and what I look like. I show up, I hand you a business card, and that's how you know. So often for us on closing day, the neighbors are all kind of whispering, going, well, where'd so-and-so go? Who are you? What happened to them? Did they die? Do they still live here? Like whatever else. And again, I'm very, very private with them. I'm like, oh, no, everything's fine. They just decided to sell. I'm the new owner. Then I explain to them what we're going to do for the property, right? So, but yeah, we definitely try to create that win-win. And for some people, that first opportunity to take over the hoard, for somebody else, we paid for their moving company. For like another family, we sold the remainder of the items that were in their home, and we handed that money back to them. So it's just all about privacy and creating that win-win for people and not having their life on display.
Yeah, I think that's a big one. And the other thing you've already explained, but like you're very dynamic. You treat each situation as the unique situation that it is, and you approach it in in its own way every time. You're not looking for a cookie cutter solution. That's why like you're right. If people are accusing you of being predatory, they're not being very fair because they clearly don't understand all that you're actually doing.
I think a lot of the time when people come from that place, they're coming from fear. Like they see you stepping on people's toes, and it's not about you at all. It's about them. So
No.
and not understanding where you're coming from.
And to be honest, you know, our price, if somebody were to list their house with a realtor and the realtor would say, you know, let's list it for such and such a price, our price is below that because we don't take a commission, right? So we automatically deduct that commission. And then if there's any renovations that need to be done at the house to bring it back up to the standard that the neighborhood is expecting, then we deduct those prices. So sometimes there's a big difference between the price that we can offer and the price that maybe an agent would suggest or you could sell if you were to sell to an end buyer. But the reason why our price is lower is because we don't just stop at helping the family who needs our help to sell their home. We actually kind of give back into the economy and back into our community by hiring like local skilled trades. So even though we're flippers, we actually don't do any of the work. Well, maybe we do some of the fun stuff like demo and stuff, but we actually turn around and then hire skilled trades. And then if there is a permit that needs to be pulled because we're making some sort of structural change or we're adding a bathroom or doing whatever else, then we go down to the city or the municipality and get those permits. So we're cycling the money back into the economy too. So we're kind of helping drive that economy that, you know, maybe a small business person who's a licensed contractor, you know, he's now got more business or she's got now more business. The city is making money because now the property taxes are going to go up on that property, but they've also got the money from the permit and, you know, like all of this other stuff. And then at the end, when we're done, we, you know, carry on with that and we hire a home stager. So again, maybe like somebody else who's making some money and hire a real estate agent and all of that. So, you know, like we offer that lower price, but then we basically force that money back into the economy in the community to be able to help keep other people employed and keep that cycle going.
Yeah, and I think that's probably one of the many reasons that Jody and now I find it so like amazing and awesome that you're out there doing this, and any way we can get the message out that you are doing this, that there are people that will do this for you and help you and
support through the hard, challenging times. And it's not like you're just helping the families; you're helping, like you said, the economy. So I actually just want to, anybody listening and things, I want to let our listeners know that, so Kim is in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. However, what's really cool, and I just found out before we started the podcast, is that she actually has contacts all over. So I would love to hear, Kim, if somebody is going through a hard time and they need you right now, or maybe they can file it away in case they come across somebody else, what are the first steps to kind of, you know, the process? Like if somebody would come to you right now, what would you have them do?
Yeah, absolutely. Anybody pretty much across Canada and the U.S. So we'll call it North America. Anybody across North America, basically the first step is give me a call or send me an email. So yeah, they can reach me that way, and then we can have a conversation about whether or not we're a good fit. Because we've had a lot of people reach out to us, and you know, after talking to them on the phone for a few minutes, you know, it's just we realize that we're not a great fit. But sometimes that we realize that once we get to meet somebody or whatever else. But definitely a phone call or an email that leads to a phone call is definitely the great first steps. And then if you're not local to the area that we service, and basically we do anything southwestern Ontario. So we flip property in Toronto, we flip property in Guelph. We're actually onto another property in Guelph now, and we've actually gone out as far as Sarnia. So anywhere pretty much in southwestern Ontario, we'll try to, you know, create a solution for you. But beyond that, like I said, we have a greater network in Canada and in the U.S. And I'm not just going to, like, if you reach out to me and I have a conversation with you, I'm not just going to pass you off to the next person. I'm going to make sure that whoever I'm passing you off to hopefully is doing business with the same heart that my husband and I are doing business, so that you don't feel like I've led you down the wrong road, right? Like, I want to make sure that whoever I refer you out to is going to treat you with the same heart that we would.
So this discovery, email, chat, phone call, meeting, all of this is like, there's no fee attached to any of this as well, right?
There's absolutely no fee. You don't pay us for anything. Like, we buy your house. That's what we do.
So that's another key important thing that a lot of people are not going to necessarily associate with that kind of industry, because everything costs something, right? Like you can't get anybody to show up to your house and be like, I need you to go check out my fridge or my.
We actually came across it with plumbing,
right? It's like,
where like they actually won't just do an estimate without charging.
It's like I'm going to show up, and regardless of whether I do the work or not, I'm going to charge you this amount just for coming out. So it's great to hear that you're like, no, I'm gonna, all that stuff is waived, and we're just trying to help you. And then
like 100%.
Yeah, which is amazing, and I think for a lot of people, a lot of listeners, myself included, it's just you're not in that mindset. You're not in the mindset that like there can exist people and in that work with huge, like let's not, like the house is the biggest thing you're ever going to buy, right? It's going to be the biggest purchase you're ever going to buy. Yeah. So the fact that there are people out there that are not just in it for the money, that take a lot more care of you than your only experience, a lot of people are going to be with real estate agents, lawyers, who have lots and lots of clients, and not to say you don't have lots and lots of clients, but it's sort of like it's like a conveyor belt. It's like, okay, this step, buy kind of deal, right? And what you're offering is so much more than that. So I'm super excited that we got you on the podcast to sort of share, this is what we do. It's different, and it helps people.
Yeah, and like you mentioned about getting paid, we don't get paid until we sell a house. Right. So like if we don't find the right family to help, and we don't buy their house, then we don't get paid. So even like I said, we closed on the property last week. By the time we're done, like our payday comes in 6 months. But in that, we always make sure that the contractors are paid in full. We don't qualify for private or for mortgages anymore through the bank, so we utilize private lenders. So we make sure that they're paid in full, or make sure that their lawyers are paid in full, that our lawyers are paid in full, that the real estate agent and the stager and all of those people are paid in full. And then like we've run our numbers, so we know that there's a certain amount that should be left over for us at the end. But if for some reason things went sideways in the analysis, or we things took longer, we found more things that were wrong with the house, if there was nothing left over for us at the end, we wouldn't get paid. Like we would make sure that everyone else along the way got paid first. But like we still do need to keep the lights on, so it would be nice for some sort of paycheck at the end. But we make sure that like we're not going to hold back money from somebody, because we wouldn't make any money on the property. We wouldn't try to renegotiate terms with a lender or with a contractor or something like that, because we didn't make any money. We had contracts in place. We had promises to everybody, and that's what's so important to my husband and I, is our word is everything to us. If we can't perform on that, then we won't do an opportunity. We'll make sure that we can connect you with somebody who can perform on that. But at the end of it, we just make sure that everyone along the way who, like we've asked to be on our team. Like we don't have employees. My husband and I are the only two. But, we consider our lawyers part of our team, and the agent that we work with quite regularly part of our team and stuff like that. And we just make sure that everyone along the way is taken care of. And, hopefully at the end of it, there's something for us too, for all of our effort.
What an amazing way to live, though, like on your word, like, just, like having everything in place and just honoring it every time, like that alone, one, it will help, like, support you. Like, I don't know how much you are into the universe stuff, but like the universe provides for, it's just really incredible.
Yeah. You're putting out so much positivity. Yeah. You're going to get that positivity.
Like, I just love your mottos and just your way of, making sure everybody else is, taken care of, and you are honoring your word, and, just really leading from your heart. So that's really amazing.
My husband and I don't like to be in the dark. So that's the way we treat everyone else. Is we make sure that, we'd rather over communicate than not communicate with somebody, like regardless of what step in the process they are with us, we'd rather over communicate, because I don't want there to be surprises for anybody at any point. I don't want them to say, well, you told me you were going to do this and you didn't, or you told me that you couldn't do this. And I'd rather under promise and over deliver on something with somebody. But yeah, no, definitely we definitely believe in putting out like the good vibes, right? To get back. We're not giving to receive, but we know that we want to put out those good vibes to everybody, because that's what everyone deserves.
Awesome. Great.
Yeah, that's incredible.
I'm not sure. I think that wraps up like what you do really well. And I'm so glad that we got a chance to hear what you do, because, what you do, it can't really fit on a business card or in a, like a one-page ad, not the kind of stuff that you're actually getting when you get right down to it. What are you doing? And what you're doing is amazing. So I think we can tie it up now, and you can maybe tell us about how people who are listening now or who will hear this at some point can find you.
And keep in mind, all the links, like always, will be in the comments below the podcast as well. So you don't actually have to share, but like she's already mentioned, like Kim's already mentioned, phone number and email is the best way to contact.
So we'll get that in our links, and definitely to anybody out there who thinks that they have to go through these, like in addition to
the
doing
traditional way of selling a home. Like if you're going through hard times, like
it doesn't even have to be hard times. Like if you just need a quick answer, right? Like if you're like you have to downsize for whatever reason. I think people look at downsizing as a negative thing, but if you choose to downsize for whatever reason, or if you've got a job promotion that is taking you away from your community and you just need an answer right away, then like it doesn't always have to be that negative situation. Like it can be a positive situation. Like if you're like the family that we just helped now, they were selling one home so that they could move in together. Like so it was a couple, they were moving in together and they needed to sell one of the homes, right? So like it's a positive experience in that aspect, right? So it doesn't matter why you're calling me, as long as we can help, or why you're connecting with me, as long as we can help, positive or negative. Unfortunately, most of the people who reach out to us, it's because something's going sideways in their life, and then we try to make it a positive experience on the other side for them.
So to reiterate, like now that I have more information, is that you don't have to go the traditional way then. For anybody that thinks that you have to do like A, B, C to get a home or to sell a home. Like there are different things. There are other options out there for you.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And the first step is to ask for help, and you can ask for help from Kim.
Yeah.
and like there's like I said, there's absolutely no judgment. There's no shame. I don't judge. I don't whatever. It's just when somebody reaches out to us, I'm super appreciative that they found us, and if they didn't know what road to take, hopefully I can point them in the right direction.
That's wonderful.
Okay.
So is there any other last minute things, Kim, you want to like end on, or any more like little thoughts or?
I don't think so. Like just the same thing. Like if you don't know, if you think we might be a solution for you, reach out. If you're not sure, reach out. And then definitely, we can work together and figure out whether or not we're the solution for you. And if not, then we'll connect you with somebody who can. I don't want people to be burdened by the whole process of selling their home. If we can lessen that burden somehow, then that's what we want to do.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for being here. I've learned even more from you again, and I'm just so grateful and happy and excited that you were here today.
Thanks for having me.
You're very welcome. And so anybody listening, if you know that maybe somebody like could use Kim, or maybe yourself, reach out to Kim and spread the word. And like Kim said, you don't have to be going through a negative situation. It can be a positive one. So share the love, guys. Literally. Everybody have a beautiful, beautiful day.
Bye for now.